Hi, I'm Angela Giles Klocke with ScarsandTiaras.com. Thank you for being here for week 6 of the Alive to Thrive series. So today my phone rang and I answered it. Sounds like not a big deal. I just answered my phone. But what you don't know is for years and years I struggled with making phone calls, answering the door, answering phone calls, just talking to people in general. I had a great, huge weight of anxiety that always weighed on me anytime the phone rang. If I had to make a phone call, I would write a script out first, and then I would have to psych myself out to get to the phone call. It was kind of a big deal. And so to answer the phone today and in recent months without it really being an issue is kind of a big deal itself as well, because it's part of my healing, part of my thriving. But let me tell you how I got there, how I could get to a place where I could answer the phone. I just kept answering the phone. Sounds simple enough, but it wasn't. It was hard. I actually work in a job where I have to make phone calls and I have to receive phone calls. And sometimes those phone calls have someone in a really bad place on the other end, and I can't be the one who's scared. That doesn't mean I'm never scared. It just means I'm supposed to sort of know what I'm doing and let that anxiety go. I'm bringing this up today because shame and guilt are some of the questions I receive, the topics I receive questions about the most often. How do I get past shame and guilt? How am I supposed to thrive when I'm carrying around this shame and guilt? And people sometimes say, well, time heals all wounds. And I do believe you spend time and you work on healing. I don't think you sit in a corner and wait for time to pass and then, ta-da, you healed. And no more than you're going to thrive by sitting in a corner and waiting for time to pass. But you learn to get through shame and healing because you just keep facing it. You keep looking it straight in the eye and saying, I'm going to deal with it, I'm going to face it, I'm going to not be afraid of it, even when I'm afraid of it. Once upon a time, the phone would ring, as I said, and I would fear. I would sometimes go hide in the bathroom in case the person on the other end of the phone happened to be outside my door watching me not answer my phone. That is how paranoid I would get about answering the phone, because it was that much anxiety in my heart. And shame and guilt can weigh on you in the same way, that you feel like people are outside your door watching you be full of shame and guilt and that you're not handling it the way that you're supposed to. And there's no magic formula to how exactly I've gotten past, because sometimes I do still have some shame and guilt, and it's not always deserved. Sometimes I do feel some shame for some decisions I made. But there's no reason to carry that around. There's no reason, no healing in carrying it that big weight. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to look the shame, the guilt, whatever it is that you're carrying in the eye, and name it and claim the pieces that are yours to claim and release the rest. And then do it again tomorrow, and then do it again the next day. And eventually you'll get to a place where it's so much easier to say, when shame comes up and when guilt comes up, to say, no, that doesn't belong to me. I didn't do that. And I want to be very specific that the shame and guilt that you're feeling was assigned to you by someone else. It's not yours to begin with. But we took it on, much as many of us may have taken on the savior mentality that we needed to save someone. So it's like learning to get past anxiety and to say, I'm going to answer the phone. I'm going to get past this anxiety, this phone phobia, one phone call at a time. And the first 50 calls, you're still sweating. I still sweat when I answer the phone sometimes, especially if it's a hard call or I need to do something important, I still sweat, I get off the phone and need to change my shirt because I'm having still some anxiety that my body is still trying to process. But I can still answer the phone. And once upon a time, I didn't do that. I still get past the shame and the guilt. Sometimes it visits me, but I can get past it easier than before because I've been facing it, naming it, claiming it, and letting it go. So this week, I just want you to look at shame and guilt and look it in the eye and really just see that it doesn't belong to you to begin with. Why are you holding on to something that doesn't belong to you? Easy question, hard answer. I get that. But we're going to keep exploring this because in order to thrive, you first have to start letting go of some of that baggage. And guilt and shame are in those big pieces of baggage, the big trunk that you have to drag around. And you're not going anywhere fast carrying that trunk, right? So we're going to keep, as they say, unpacking that and find ways that are helpful for that. But today, I just want to encourage you to, however you process, through journaling, through talking, through art, through photography, whatever it is that you do, I want you to sit down today, right now, and write out shame and guilt, and write out why. Or take a picture of what that shame and guilt looks like. Or what color is that? Is it a raging red or is it a green? Is it black? Is it this deep, dark black of void of color? What is it? Name it, claim it, and let's just start tackling it. Look it in the eye. Say, you don't belong to me. See ya. Join me next week at scarsandtiaras.com as we continue to dig into this and unpack this trunk. I'm Angela Giles Klocke, and I thank you for being with me.